So I was wrong. Hello. My name is Ashlee and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Graham Platner. Now, I've talked about Graham Platner before, and something I said before was that, I didn't think he was going to turn out like John Fetterman. And if I was wrong, I would own it. And though I still don't think he would have turned out as John Fetterman. I was wrong about him, and I know a lot of the red flags that people had about Graham Platner deterred them from supporting him, and a lot of those people were right. I still do think, given the choices we had, he was the best choice, because Janet Mills I just don't think was going to defeat Susan Collins. But Graham Platner has a very credible rape allegation against him right now, and I 1000% believe her, and I think everybody else should too. And I think that this is something that the left needs to be consistent on. I don't think the corporate Democrats are consistent on it, but we'll get to that. But I do think, like, the left, like progressives and leftists, I think this is something we should be consistent on, and so when everyone was calling for Eric Swalwell to drop out, to step down, we need to be consistent. And so I definitely think that Graham Platner needs to step down. I think what he did was horrific. I will say that I watch Waj a lot, and Waj has a guest on a lot that never supported him, and never felt comfortable doing so, because she was a sexual assault victim, and she just never felt comfortable with the way he talked about women and sexual assault on Reddit. I always understood that. I totally got that point of view, but I like completely understand why now. And I think that, I do think that taking this as a learning experience, and when a lot of people do see a ton of red flags, maybe that's something we should, it is something that maybe should make us not, maybe deter us, because even though, again, I don't think he would have become John Fetterman had some red flags in the beginning as well. And a lot of us, me as well. I wasn't on YouTube yet, but personally, I supported John Fetterman. And so, of course, not anymore. I hate him. He's a piece of shit. But that's just something I wanted to come on here and say. It's funny because yesterday I posted a video and had like Hope Core at the end, and I recorded that before Graham Platner's news came out. So I did have a lot of hope. I still do. I still have a lot of hope, but I also think that, wow, I have so many feelings. I think that, unfortunately, the right and corporate Democrats, even though they were fine with supporting Cuomo, even though they're like, Eric Swalwell was in office for how long before these allegations came out, and how many people knew about his behavior and didn't do anything, didn't say anything. And so I do think that corporate Democrats have no room to stand. I mean, Republicans and conservatives, there's like a literal alleged pedophile as our president right now. He was liable for sexual assault as well. And so it's just like Republicans have no ground to stand on. And I don't think the corporate Democrats have any room to stand on either, because of Cuomo and because of people like Eric Swalwell that they let get away with the behavior that they've had for how many years. And so I do think, what I do think they're doing, and they're already starting to do it, is they're going to try to use this against the progressive momentum. They are going to try to use this against the DSA momentum, even though he's never had anything to do with DSA. I don't think he even ever called him a socialist. And the left has been, and not like Democrats, corporate Democrats and regular and like leftists. It's not like that kind of rift. It's like the leftists had a lot of rifts on if we should support him or not. I do think for Graham Platner, it's very selfish on his part to continue to run and continue to tell all of his supporters that everything was okay. And I do think it's very selfish because progressives and leftists have had this momentum, and this is one of the first times that we've had such great momentum, and a lot of people have really worked hard for this moment. And I feel like this big of just this huge like disappointment, and this huge, yeah, I don't know, just this huge disappointment is going to affect the momentum in some way. I'm worried it will. I hope it doesn't. I feel very, very bad for the woman who came out, because she mentioned that she didn't want to come out because she has the same politics as him. And that really broke my heart. That just broke my heart, because I don't want anyone to feel like they can't come out and they can't talk about these things, and that, yeah, I don't know. I feel horrible that she felt that way. And she even like, Jake Tapper asked her, well, if there are like progressives or Democrats who still say, well, we have to still vote for him, which no one is saying. No one is saying. Like, I haven't seen one person saying that, right? Like, not one. And I watch a ton of different people. I listen to a ton of different people, and not one person has supported him after this. Every single person has said he needs to drop out. And I think that's the difference from the left and the right. I also think it's the difference between the left and corporate Democrats. Because again, corporate Democrats were okay with Cuomo. We're okay with supporting Cuomo and wanting to support Cuomo even after he lost, and so he could run for a third party. Like, that's what the corporate Democrats did. And sexual assault, and actually like taking women who he has sexually assaulted to court to try to then go after them and harass them. That's what Andrew Cuomo did. And they still supported him. So I think that's also the difference between like leftists in the left and corporate Democrats. So that's my opinion. I hope I hope he drops out. He has still denied it. I'm not watching his video. I don't want to watch his video. I don't really care what he has to say. I think this was a wildly selfish endeavor. Um, and I feel like I feel like this is something that you should, like, as a person, if you know this is something, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what to say, because I'm like, you should have handled this beforehand. But how do you handle it? Because you should be taking accountability for it, and you're still denying it, even though she has extremely credible allegations. And she even mentioned that she didn't want to come out about it because she does support his politics, which is, again, it's just like heartbreaking. And so I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's wildly selfish. I think it's wildly selfish to have interviews and say everything's okay and deny everything, and then the rape allegations come out and they are credible and they're real, and you don't have anything to say. And you denied it for so long and said nothing else is going to come out, nothing else is going to happen. And again, my whole thing was people aren't perfect, and that people have difficult lives before running for office if you're just a regular person, not if you're some person who never thought about running for office before, but then you're just now running for office, your life isn't going to be perfect, right? But this is much different than having relationship problems, than having toxic relationships. This is much different. And I he needs to drop out. And he's denying it. And he said, well, I'll only drop out if someone with my values runs. So to me, I'm like, okay, so you're admitting it then. So like, you're gonna drop out, because you should drop out, because everyone has abandoned him. And I think that's a good thing. Again, I think we need to be consistent about this. And I think that there needs to be moral consistency. And I think there needs to be at least one party, one portion of our politics that does not accept abusers as our politicians, as our leaders in this country, because we have a vast amount of them already in politics, already leading this country. I think there needs to be a portion of our politics where we don't allow that. And so I do think it's good that everyone's like, no, F you, you need to leave. I think that's good. Again, I said the same thing with Eric Swalwell, and I never particularly liked Eric Swalwell, but I just don't think that I don't think this should be allowed in leadership, and I don't think I personally, I don't think he should have ever run now. And I'm not really sure why he chose to do this. Yeah. I don't know. It's a hard conversation to have. I know everyone's having it. Hopefully we can replace him with someone who does have his same values, because that's what people in Maine voted for. But of course, the corporate Democrats don't want that. And they're trying to create this different reality where people on the left are trying to still stand up for him, which again is not happening. And it's really wild that corporate Democrats are saying that to the leftists after Eric Swalwell, who they allowed to get away with abusing his staffers for how long? Before anyone said anything, people were literally warning other staffers, warning other people in the building, saying, hey, watch out for Eric Swalwell. So people knew, and they did nothing, and they allowed him to get away with it. And they wanted Cuomo back. So I just, it's a very frustrating scenario, because I feel like the leftists are the only side that do have like moral consistency. Sorry, that's my cat. That I feel like leftists are the only side that really do have moral consistency. And yet it never matters. Sorry, that's her playfish. It is such a serious video. Yeah, my cat is like playing in the background. And I'm sure you can hear it. I'm gonna invest in better equipment here soon. But yeah, I don't know. That's all that to say, this is a hard topic and it sucks. And honestly, I'm very frustrated with him, and I think he is extremely selfish. And yeah, I don't know. But I mean, he was always, again, he was never part of the DSA. I don't think he's ever called himself a socialist, if I'm not mistaken. And so it shouldn't put a damper on DSA's momentum. But I do think that the right wing and the corporate Democrats will do everything in their power to make it dampen the momentum. So, all while they have their own abusers in office that they don't want to hold accountable. So, it's a frustrating situation all around, and I'm mad at myself for not listening. to the people who heeded their warnings about the red flags. I'm mad at Graham Platner for being selfish, and for denying and not taking accountability for his actions. Um, I'm mad at the corporate Democrats and the Republicans for, like, not keeping their abusers accountable and literally having an alleged pedophile in office. And yet it's the left that's the problem, even though we're all telling him he needs to leave and we don't want him in this party anymore. Yeah. And I feel really bad for the woman. And I know her face and her name are everywhere, but I don't really want to have her face or her name in my video or on my thumbnail or anything like that, because she didn't want to come out with this. She thought that someone else was accusing him of rape and sexual assault in that New York Times piece. And so that's why she didn't come out with the full story at first, because she didn't want everyone to know. And now, because she was the only one with that accusation, the New York Times piece didn't have the salience that they thought it would. And so, because again, like, everyone read it and was like, well, this doesn't, like, they're not accusing him of sexual assault. Like, that's not what they're accusing him of. And that's because they didn't have her full story in there. And so then she came out with her full story because she thought that there was going to be other people accusing him of similar things or the same thing, and that didn't happen in the piece. And so that's why she came out now. Yeah, he has time to drop out. He has till the 13th. And it sucks that, like, it sucks because this woman has had to see her abuser running and being just, like, glorified, you know. And I hate that I was a part of that, and I hate that she had to go through that. And now, you know, I'm talking about, oh, well, we're worried about losing the house, you know? And, like, she was worried about that, and that's why she wasn't coming out with it. And it's so messed up that, like, that's the situation we're in. Like, it's so messed up that that's the political situation we're in this country. And it's not her fault. And it's not her fault at all. It's Graham Platner's fault for being selfish and doing this. Yeah, I don't know. And I feel really bad for her, and I hope that I don't know. It's just all around a sucky situation. It's all around just a fucked up situation. He needs to drop out. Yeah, he needs to drop out. Like, he needs to drop out, and he needs to take accountability, even though I don't think he will. But yeah. Anyway, that was the video today. Not a great video, but I'm gonna try to make more of these short form videos, so I can stay up to date with all the things going on. And yeah. All right, well, I will see you in the next video. I love you all very much. Tell me what you think below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.